Welcome back to the discussion and thank you for always joining us. This is KCSE 1995 paper 2 question number 23, a question on trigonometry. Part A of the question, complete the table below for the function y is equal to 2 sin 3x. We have the values of x between 0 degrees and 120 degrees and then sin 3x. For us to fill these columns, we are going to press 3 times x, which is 0, you get 0. And next we are going to have 3 times x, x is 10. So sin 30 will give us 0.5. Next we have 20 degrees. So sin 3x will be 3 times 20, which is 60. So the sin of 60 will give us 0.866. Next we have 30 degrees, so we are going to have sin 90, which will be 1.00. Next we are going to have 40, so it is 3 times 40, which is 120. Sin 120 will give us 0.866. We go to 50, so we are going to have 3 times 50, which is 150. Sin of 150 will give us 0.5. Next we are going to have 60. 60 times 3 is 180. Sin 180 will give us 0, so it will be 0.00. Next we have 70 times 3, which is 210. Sin 210 will give us 0.50, and of course negative. 80 degrees will have negative 0.86660. Then next is 90, so 3 times 90 will give us 270. Sin of 270 will give us negative 1, that is 0.00. Then we have 100, so it is 3 times 100, giving us 300. Sin of 300 will give us negative 0.866. And next we are going to have 110 times 3, which is 330. Sin 330 will give us negative 0.500. Next we have 120, so we are going to have 3 times 120, which is 360. Sin of 360 will give us 0. So this is 0.00. Next we go and get y. So for us to get the column for y, so y has been given to be 2 sin 3x. And already we have sin 3x, so we are going to take the values for 3x sin and multiply them by 2. So if you take 0 times 0, you get 0. That is the value of y. Then next we are going to have, next we take 0.5, you multiply by 2, you get 1.00. Next you take 0.866 times 2, you get 1.73. Next we are going to have 1 times 2, which will give us 2.00. Next is 0.866 times 2, you'll get 1.73. Basically, it is taking the value of 3x, then you multiply all of them by 2 for you to get the values of y. For 0.5, we are going to have 1.00. For 60 degrees, we are going to have 0.00 times 2, which is 0.00. Next, we are going to have next is negative 0.5, which would give us negative 1.0. And next we are going to have, this is negative 1.0. Next we have negative 1.73, which is negative 0.86660 times 2. Next is negative 1.00 times 2, which is negative 2.00. Next, we are going to have negative 1.73. Next, we are going to have negative 1.00. And lastly, we are going to have 0.00. And by so doing, we have now completed filling that table. We move to part B of the question. Using the values in the completed table, draw the graph of y is equals to 2 sin x for the values of x between 0 degrees to 120 degrees. You can see the highest value we have is 2, and therefore we are going to use a scale of 1 centimeter to represent 0.5. So from 0 next we are going to have 0.5 on the y-axis, 1.0, then 1.5 and 2.0. And on the negative side we have negative 0.5, negative 1.0, negative 1.5, and lastly negative 2.0. Then on the x-axis, we are going to use 1 centimeter to represent 20 degrees. Now we can use 1 centimeter to 10 degrees, so we can quote our scale very straight. On the y-axis, we have used 1 centimeter to represent 0.5 units, and on the x-axis, we have used 1 centimeter to represent 10 degrees. So we are going to have 0, next is 10, 20, 30, we have 40, 50, we have 60, we have 70, we have 80, 90, 100, 110, and lastly 120 degrees. From there now we go and start plotting. We plot x and y. When x is 0 degrees, the value of y is 0 at this point here. When the value of x is 10 degrees, y is 1. At 10 degrees, y is 1 at this point here. When it is 20 degrees, it is 1.73. At 20, it is 1.73 at this point here. When it is 30 degrees, it is 1. At 30 degrees, it is 2. 2 is at this point here. At 40, it is 1.73 here. At 50, we have 1 here. At 60, we are going to have 0 at this point here. At 70, we have negative 1. At 70, we have negative 1 at this point. At 80, we have negative 0.87. Negative 0.87 is, at 80, we have negative 1.73. Negative 1.73 is around this point here. At 90 degrees, we are going to have negative 2.0 here. So that means 1.73 is going to be down here, where we have 1.5. 1.73 is at this point here. Then at 100, we are going to have negative 1.73, which will be at this point. At 110, we are going to have negative 1, which is at this point here. And finally, at 120, we are going to have 0, which would be at this point here. Once we have done that, now we can join all these points for us to get our curve. This is our curve. It is always important that once the curve is drawn, we label it. This is our curve, which is y is equals to 2 sin 3x. Then next question we are supposed to answer. Hence solve the equation 2 sin x is negative 1.5. So we are going to go to where y is negative 1.5. Draw the line. So negative 1.5 is at this point here. You draw a line and read off the values where the line and the curve intersect. So the curve and the line are intersecting at this point here. This is the line y where y is equals to negative 1.5, or simply 2 sin 3x is negative 1.5. So we are going to draw towards the x-axis for us to be able to read off the values at that point. Again, we come and draw another broken line here so that we are able to read off those values, and that will become the solution for this particular case. So the first value of x we are going to have at this point here, it is going to be 76 degrees. And the other value of x is going to be, this is 100. This will be around 102. 100, not 102. It is going to be 104 degrees because we have 5 units representing 10, and therefore one small box is 2. Since we have 2 here, we are going to have exactly 104 degrees, and that becomes the answer to this particular question. Thank you for watching and welcome to our discussions. And in case you are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, you click the subscribe button so that anytime we publish a video like this, you will automatically be given a notification. Thank you and welcome.